So, myself, doctors told me long ago that by 11, 12 years, I should go blind. So, they should start sending me to a blind school. But by God's grace, I was able to hold on to it even to university level.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So up to the uni
And
level where you could see and you were
yes,
seeing very
up
well.
to the uni level, I was seeing very blurry,
Okay.
continuously blurry. So it deteriorates along. When I was in the university, it was only one eye which could do a bit of reading.
Okay.
So I went through the university with my right eye.
Okay.
And even with that, I needed a very strong light. I needed very large font sizes. And I needed to come very close to the book. So if you saw me in my position that I needed to bend to be able to read, you wouldn't feel so comfortable for me. But we had to break our backs to go to university. So that's what had to happen.
Hello, guys. Welcome to Benghazi TV. Today we are in again with something special for all of you. But let me first of all ask of you: have you subscribed to the channel yet? If you have not, I plead on you, please subscribe to the channel. All you do is just look at the button down there, subscribe, hit on it. There's a bell also beside it. Hit on it as well so you can get notified whenever content is posted on Benghazi TV. So once again, welcome to my channel. Today we have an interesting chat on chat room. It's been a while we did some chat room, but today we have chat room back with us. Enough of the football and sports. We are back to chat with some of our very important persons around us in this country. Today, I speak to a young man whose life I'm sure will inspire all of you. His life is an amazing one. You would love to hear his story and how he has come this far with his life. I don't want to speak much about him because he will tell us everything for himself. But our guest today on chat room is one young man. I'm sure you've heard of his voice somewhere in the country and even beyond. On radio, on TV, I'm sure you've seen him as well do a few things. Recently as well, he's been winning some wonderful accolades and awards for his wonderful job he's been doing in the Ghanaian media landscape. A young man who will not allow his challenges to bring him down, but really inspiring others by going beyond his challenges to challenge himself and do and achieve a lot more for himself and generations who look at him, be inspired by him, and do more like he's been doing. Our guest today on Chatroom and Benghazi TV is a young man I call my brother, but he's Ivan Hitcourt Fumado, a journalist with EIB Network in KUMASI, Ultimate FM, and also you hear of him in Accra on Star FM and on TV on GH1 TV. Ivan, a pleasure to have you join us on this channel.
Oh, great to also be on your show, Benghazi.
How have you been?
Benghazi, I've been well. I've been fine. I mean, it's good to see you, the man with the big voice.
Today is about you, please. It is about you. It's been a while I met you.
Yes.
I've been listening to you, reading about you, all the awards and all of that.
For taking us in Kumasi, so we are there waiting for you.
How can I have not? I have not. But how have you been? I've been reading about the awards. You've been picking up some awards recently. How does all that motivate you in what you do?
Okay, so recently was the MCBIRD Awards by the U.S. Embassy, by the Young Africa Media Center, which is under the U.S. Embassy, and it's on disability reporting on disability. It was a very tough competition, even getting shortlisted, but across the country, they picked only 20 journalists after tendering in our works, our essays, our everything, doing a personal review or background review of all the journalists who applied for it. And then fortunately, I got myself in there. Not only did I get myself in there, they vetted our works and then they had to give awards to two persons. And I fortunately had to be one alongside Beatrice Senaju of GBC. So that was what you saw in the media. And I think that it spares persons like myself who have a certain challenge, let's say a visual challenge. I always say I am visually impaired, but not vision impaired. So as far as we are working towards what I call impact, purpose, and love for humanity, some of these things spur us on and encourage us to want to do more for humanity. There's no point living in this world if you don't make any impact with what you do. It's as good as not living at all. Because they would say a life worth lived is a life poured out. And where did you pour it out on, and which people did you have an impact on? That is what is going to give you any relevance in your life, and not all the years that you spent doing things that never benefited or had an impact on other people. And that's what really spurs me on, for which reason I want to do more in this field of journalism, not just reporting, but doing impact stories. Yes.
All right, so I didn't say it. I told you he has a challenge, but I wasn't specific. He's told you. So if you cannot see, and it's difficult to tell, he's visually impaired, like he said, but not vision impaired, visually impaired, and that's Ivan for you. He cannot see. To put it bluntly, he's blind, but he's not allowing that to affect or stop him from impacting on generations, like he said. So, Ivan, how do you go about your daily routines,
so
knowing this particular impairment you have?
I'm sure several people will be asking the same questions in their mind, how he goes about doing his own things. So journalism is a field which does a lot of movements. You can't sit in the office and then be an armchair journalist. You just be doing news desk reports and all of that. It's a very mobile job if you want to do lots of impact stories. You'll be going after demonstrations. You'll be going after community stories. You'll be entering villages. You'll be climbing things. You'll be walking on rough roads. You'll be crossing gutters. You'll be sometimes climbing up mountains, crossing rivers. We've done all of that before. So you would imagine that you would need your sight at all points. So that is where you look for synergies. I've said to myself that do as much as you can till you reach a point where you can't do anything before you ask for help. So that is my philosophy. So I have about 5 to 10% of residual vision. I can't use it to really do. I can't even walk around on my own with it. But I listen a lot. Sorry, I ask questions, and then I seek guidance. So mostly, if I'm working with my cameraman, I'm safe. I can walk with him. If I don't have one, or my camera guy is a bit busy, and then normally I work with interns. Most of the time I have an intern in the newsroom, so I teach you the job, then you become my guide, so we all benefit. So when we are working together, you don't have to control me too much. All I need is to have a hook on either your shoulder or on your bag that you are holding. Let's move along. So anything that happens, just tell me. And I'll also ask you questions. I heard this. What is happening here? What can you see ahead of you? What is happening here? Can you see this? Can you do that? And I know what I should look out for when I go on every assignment, because I read a lot and I learn a lot about documentaries, the reports. So I'm always in my mind looking for what I should look for. And when I go, I ask. I do my questioning. I do a lot of critical reasoning when I'm on the ground. So when I come back and then I sit and I've gathered all my information, I know the right questions to ask which authorities. I know the right questions to ask which policy makers. And I know where to hit the notes to get the policy responses that I need. And that is what basically spurs me on and helps me to do most of the researches and stuff that I do on the ground. I wouldn't say it's that simple. It's very challenging on many grounds as well.
Interesting how Ivan manages to go about things despite or notwithstanding the challenge he has. And listening to him, clearly lots of wisdom in the things he always speaks about and brings out whenever he speaks. Lots of wisdom in there. Now, Ivan, how you talked about having 5%? Is that 5%?
Oh, it's about 5 to 10%.
So it means
just a residual vision.
Okay.
So at this point, as I look ahead of me, I can see the camera lights, but don't ask me about the cameraman or his camera.
You can't see anything beyond that. You can see the lights, but you can't see anything beyond it.
Yes, I can. Maybe if we were outside in the sun, then maybe I can see a bit of his form. But if you ask me these details, how his nose looks like, or how pointed his nose looks like, or something, that would be another case altogether.
Okay. So how did it all start? Were you born with it?
It's a condition they call RP. The full name is retinitis pigmentosa. It's like pigment on the retina. You're born with it. I hear it's genetic. I've checked. I haven't seen my grandparents or my parents with it, but doctors tell me maybe it was a dormant gene. So it takes off a lot of your vision. It starts from your peripheral vision, it starts getting into your central vision. It blocks a lot of light. So what you would need maybe one unit of light to do. I would need about maybe 200 or 300 or 400 units of that same light to be able to try to see what I can make out a little bit out of it. It also makes your vision very, very, very short-sighted. And as you go along, it steals your vision. So, myself, doctors told me long ago that by 11, 12 years, I should go blind. So they should start sending me to a blind school. But by God's grace, I was able to hold on to it even to university level.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So up to the
And
level where you could see, and you were
yes,
seeing very
after
well.
up to the uni level, I was seeing very blurry,
Okay.
continuously blurry. So it deteriorates along. When I was in the university, it was only one eye which could do a bit of reading.
Okay.
So I went through the university with my right eye.
Okay.
And even with that, I needed a very strong light. I needed very large font sizes. And I needed to come very close to the book. So if you saw me in my position that I needed to bend to be able to read, you wouldn't feel so comfortable for me. But we had to break our backs to go through university. So that's what had to happen.
And now it's 95%.
Yes, I should say thereabout. I should say thereabout. Yeah.
It's an interesting one you've given us, a very sad story of how it all began and how
How
it,
you
it's got,
progressed
yeah,
and all
it
of that.
progressed. So now, like you said, just about 5%, even that it has to do with lights and a
lots of
few
lights.
images that you might see, but not that detail.
So even when I was doing my masters like this, I had to work completely with the computer because I've gotten a lot of softwares that read back to me
Okay.
everything that I do on the computer. So I can do my research, I can type my documents, and
You do all these alone?
yes. And with this kind of job that we do too, you have to be very fast when you're on the computer. So I type at super fast speeds. You have to learn everything again. You have to learn how to work on the computer without looking on the keyboard. You have to learn how to work on the computer without touching a mouse because the mouse will need a visual aid to know where the mouse is going. So I have to forget about the mouse. If you took my mouse away from my computer for years, I wouldn't even realize it wasn't there because I don't even use it. So you learn a lot of key commands. So you learn it like the way people used to learn. There's the Windows and there's the DOS. You learn it like the DOS type. So if I have to go on my desktop, I have to do a Windows D. If I want to open up the this PC session, I have to do a Windows E. If I want to bold in the font, I have to do a Control A and then hit a Control plus right bracket several times to increase. If I want to unify all the things that I've typed, I have to hit a Control A, hit a Control space to unify it. If I want to bold
So
it,
you
I have
must
to
do
do a
everything
Control.
from the
So
keypad.
everything must be done from the keypad, and you must learn everything. If I'm on the internet, I have to hit a Control D to give me a space where I can type in my search. I have to hit an H to send me to headings. I have to, those are the things. So if you pick my phone like this, the software has taken over the phone. If you don't know how to use it, it will be useless in your hands. So we have to learn all of that. So when I was going to the university, I just wrote to them that I'm coming to do my masters, but I cannot write like everybody does. So they were wondering how they should send me. I said, no, they shouldn't worry. I'll bring them a software for my examination. So the examinations I was writing from the e-library and
And
all
they
of that.
allowed that.
Yes, they had to.
What institution is that?
That's the Ghana Institute of Journalism.
Okay, they granted that and allowed you to use
They
your
granted it,
special
yes.
device.
And it's some of the things that I want to do to create that paradigm shift out there. That sometimes you don't need so much to create room for persons with disability to progress. Because at a point, if I had not come in to tell them that the only thing you need for me to work is for me to bring you a pen drive with the software on it, not you to bring it to me. So if those things are there, it makes it easy. Next time, if they're going to pick a person with visual impairment, they can refer to my case and allow them in to come and do their masters. So those are some of the things I try to do to change the paradigms in institutions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Let's talk about the challenges. Lots of them, obviously, for someone with this impairment, visually impaired person. Can you walk us through some of the challenges on a daily basis, the things you go through?
A few challenges to do with let me go general on persons with disability. Accessibility to environments. Lots of environments are not disability friendly. The way things are placed, sometimes the way they even open doors, leave it ajar. I've walked into half-open doors several times. It will knock me in my face straight, and it's very painful. I do that a lot, and people don't really mind. They feel everybody sees. You go here, they change the position of this thing, they change the position of that thing. So they've taken your mouse, they've taken your computer, they've taken your. So you get there, and then your hand is just hovering around, trying to find exactly where what is or exactly where what is. So that's a bit of a challenge on the institutional front. Sometimes the institutions have to break their backs to look for things that would help the person. So mobility, this job does a lot of mobility. So is there a certain company car sitting somewhere that if you want to do assignments, it can be assigned to you? It makes the work very, very simple, because sometimes you're in a community, you have to do about 3 different points. Something has happened. There's a community problem here, you've covered it, but you need to go to the assembly person. You need to go to the opinion leader in the community. You have to go to residents. Those are different points that you have to find them. They will not come and gather for you. All right. So imagine that you didn't have a vehicle or a guide with you. How are you going to do it? Sometimes you have to be crossing gutters to go through shortcuts and other things. There are points when if you're not careful, you either fall in the drain or you hurt yourself very bad. And these are challenges. And the challenges to do with cost.
Okay.
All right. If you don't have a company that supports you to even get transportation in and out of work, you will spend a lot, because you cannot go and stand on the side of the road and stop a trotro and hop on it and then get somewhere. That makes your cost very, very easy. So if you were spending like maybe 6 CDs, 8 CDs to go to work, or even 10 or 12 CDs to go to work, because of your challenge, by the time you end up in the day, you spent over 45 CDs, because you had to take a modest drop-in or a modest cab or a ride-sharing or hailing app in and out. You have spent transportation alone over 50 cities on that day. So you calculate that for the 30 days. That's a lot of money. So those are the different challenges that come in. You go into an institution, they have to have if there's a computer that you have to put your software on it. If it's not there, you cannot write on paper. So sometimes you have to buy your own gadgets that you have to use. That is a lot of money. And so those are the challenges that comes in if you really want to thrive as a person with disability working in an organization. If the organization does not meet you halfway, you are really, really, really going to be in a lot of financial stress. You have to cater for it to be able to survive. And you cannot also look at that and say that then I'm not going to work, I'm going to relax. So those are some of the challenges that come with it.
I have seen you in the office space a couple of times. I mean, and you walk in, for instance, into the office with no aid. You are able to maneuver your way around the office. I'm talking about Ultimate FM, where you work. How do you go about all of that? I mean, from the staircase through to the newsroom, and how you manage to move your way around to the studio and everything.
So this is it. If you've lived in a place for a long while, for instance, and you've done a certain route for some time, it gives you a bit of a mental picture as to where everything is and where. That's why I sometimes talk about when they leave doors half opened, because in your mind you know that you are walking towards a door to open it. By the time you realize, it's in your face. So if you've studied your location very well, it's easy for you to navigate. So that is how it works. And apart from that too, you see, yesterday there's a lady who's worked in the organization for a while. She's joined Ebusia. My Gloria didn't know I have a side challenge like that, because she saw me always hovering around, walking around. So when she got down from her house, so when she got down from her house at her house, fortunately they were sending her things to her in the house, and I live a bit closer, so I got the opportunity to be in the car. She told me, I should get down and help her to go and remove her things so that she sends it to her. And the man who was driving said, "Oh, no, I'll do it." And she didn't understand why. I don't think she still understands why till now. She's still thinking in her head, why did this guy not get down to come and help me? But the other guy had to get down. But I called him to come and help me. Why didn't he mind? You see? And she doesn't understand because she hasn't seen me hovering around with either a white cane or something. Yeah, so it happens like that. So
I, for instance, have heard severally, even our very own Kwame Adinkra at a point when he was at Ebusia FM, asked all of us if indeed we are very sure you are visually impaired, because he sees you come into the office yourself, he sees you walking through the office to the studio, the newsroom, everything by yourself. So he was wondering if indeed, and at a point he stood at a particular point and watched you walk from the studio. I think we're going downstairs. You went down and even went out of the compound and was asking, Are we sure Ivan is really visually impaired because gets everything done by himself and all of that?
Yes, that's why I said that sometimes learn to get a lot of things done to the extent that you only ask help when it is that you've reached a point you cannot do anything again. Uh-huh. So sometimes too, it becomes a disadvantage to you when you are very independent.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. You get to a point where, for instance, you are sitting somewhere in the newsroom and say, "Hey, Charlie, I'm very hungry." Oh." But because everybody has thought in their mind that the guy is so independent, they don't feel that the hungry he's saying, even if he had a million cedis in his pocket, he cannot walk outside to go and cross the road to go and buy something from Auntie Maggie to come and eat. You see, it also has its downsides where everybody now thinks that, oh, he's fine, he doesn't need any help. Uh-huh. But sometimes too, you have to also be independent. It's not everything that you're going to imagine. I was always asking for help. If I want to go to the washroom, can somebody guide me to the washroom? If I want to go outside, can somebody guide me outside? No. Sometimes I take the risk. For instance, like moving outside the compound. Sometimes I want to catch some ambience from the road. I want to do a report, but I want to do it over a certain roadside report. So I won't move far away from the gate, but I'll be close by. Uh-huh. So some of those things. What if there was a car also entering? Yes. But sometimes you have to take some of those risks. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
What was there ever a day? I want to get some interesting stories. Was there ever a day that because of your condition you felt down because something happened terribly that made you really feel down? That your condition was the one putting you through that particular stuff.
Oh, that happens a lot. For instance, there were points where I wanted to go and cover a certain kind of story or do a certain kind of story. And maybe that day I did not have an intern around, or that day I did not have a camera guy around. So that at least me and my camera guy will serve two purposes. He will be my guide and my camera guy. That one he cannot negotiate on it. When we were doing the KNUSC demonstrations, he was running up and down, and I was just tagged along with him. He only had to have his backpack behind him. I was hooking the backpack. We were going everywhere. So if there are times when you don't have somebody around to move out, and there are times too that maybe you are looking for maybe a ride hailing app to go to work. You've searched that everything is on search. And you're like, I wish that I wouldn't have to pay this. Once I came to the workplace with 50 cities from my house to from Oforikum there about to Denyame Ultimate FM. The thing has surged to 50 cities, and I had to come to work. So something that I had budgeted somewhere 25 cities, I was now going to pay double. And I was wondering, this one, if I had a good site, I would have just gone by. My area is very easily accessible to trotros and taxis. I would have just gone to Aga Junction, picked one to Santa about, and walked over. And when I had a bit of vision, especially in my younger ages, in my JHS, SHS, I was very mobile. I loved to walk. So at a point, I was even with cadets and other things, So it sometimes gets to you that you feel that, well, you wait that opportunity to also do a few things that you used to do in the past, you see. Yes.
In wrapping up, Ivan, how supportive or otherwise are your parents, your family for you in all of this?
Oh, my family is very supportive. My mother, for instance, would train you to do everything as if you were not visually impaired. So I do my ironing, I do my washing, I do my scrubbing.
You do your washing?
I do my everything, yes.
Ironing, how do you do that?
I do everything together. Just make sure that it's straight, and you use your hand to guide the iron. Wow. If you're not careful, it will burn you. But if you've done it for years, you will know how to maneuver. It's a long time since an iron burnt me. Okay. So I iron with my hand and my iron. So that's how it goes on the, yeah. So I iron my shirt myself. I iron my trousers myself. Before I came here, I do my washing, I do my scrubbing, I do my cleaning of my room, I do the mopping, everything. So that empowers you and gives you that ability to sometimes be on your own. And my dad, he's late, but he always was behind me. You can do this. You are an intelligent person. You can do this. That kind of thing. And he's proud to move around with you. If he has to help you around, he doesn't mind driving you wherever you want to go and waiting and picking you up. Those kind of things. So it's. I sometimes miss that help that he used to offer now that he's passed and all of that. But my family has been really supportive. Yes, and I have very good aunties like Auntie Irene, and then they're always on my case, making sure that I be the best that I can be. So every person with some challenge. You need that support system, that encouragement to keep you going. I think my family has done a yeoman's job, fantastic at that.
Ivan, what is the one thing that if you had your way, you'd wish you have or you had to ensure that your work will be that smooth for you? If there was that one thing you wish was always with you, you had, so that it will make things easy for you with your work.
It's mobility. It's mobility. Mobility. If I had a certain vehicle somewhere, where maybe I'm not going to drive it. It can just work as an Uber or something. But if I'm going somewhere, I don't have to pay for transportation. It would send me for my assignments. It will send me to work. It will send me to church. Those are basically the places that I go.
Work, assignments, and church.
Yeah. So those are the things, because transportation takes a lot of my of my finances. Transportation takes a lot. Yes, and then I think it will be fine. It will be fine. At least at this point, I wish I were financially strong enough to do my PhD. But
You want to do your PhD now?
yeah, it could happen. But not when I'm spending all the money on transportation.
An interesting story. Ivan, I'm wrapping up. But what do you do for fun? What do you do for fun when you're bored? What do you do for fun?
Music.
You listen to music.
I love music. So I copy a lot of songs on my pen drive. Fortunately, I found a software which is able to convert most of the YouTube stuff to audios for me. So immediately I copy the link, I drop it in there, hit the convert. It converts real fine. So sometimes I listen to songs all night. I'll be asleep and it will still be on. So I like listening to good music, good soothing music with good words. Specifically, I love Hillsong, Bethel music, Jesus culture. I love those beautiful songs. I mean, it inspires me. Yes, and apart from that, I like watching documentaries. I like watching talk shows.
Watching.
Yes, watching. Talk
How do you watch documentaries and talk shows?
Yeah, so they have sounds. They have, you see, when it is movie, it's difficult to tell a lot of things. But when it's documentary, documentary has voiceovers.
Yes.
So the voiceovers gives you the picture of everything which is there. So if I watch movie, I'm disadvantaged. But if I sit down there behind the documentary, I'm cool. The person will give a voiceover and everything. There are interviews in there. There are things that they are describing in there. So it gets me a bit. The only thing that these days I find it a bit uncomfortable watching is these documentaries of the animal kingdom and all of that. Because sometimes you would wish that you were seeing the things that they were describing in there. But those are animals, man. They can't interview them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, apart from that. So talk shows, stuff like I like to listen to things that broaden my horizon, gives me much vocabulary. So if you come to my place, it's my TV and my radio, you are either edified spiritually or you are informed.
You are very religious.
Those are the two things that happen in my space when it comes to entertainment or something that is leisure. Apart from that, you will not really find the other things.
That's our chat with the man Ivan Heathcote Fumado. Like I told you, he's a journalist, a practicing journalist, obviously. Visually impaired, he cannot see, like he told you. I can't recall the words he used to describe his current state. Residual 10%. Is it residual?
Yes, residual vision.
10% residual vision. It means 90% off. He cannot really see anything that much. And he's been doing everything he's been doing all these years, ensuring that he gets the stories out there and impact on society and all of us. And he's someone I've been blessed to know, really, because the wisdom and knowledge he really has up there, despite his challenge, is just awesome. And you need to meet Ivan. You need to sit him down one-on-one and pick some knowledge from this young man I've been speaking to today on our chat. Like he said, if there was that one thing that he would ensure or he would wish he had to ensure things would be smooth for him, mobility, something that will aid him to always move around and not be spending a little he earns on TNT and to aid his movement. So if you're out there and can help my brother out in any way, if you want to buy my brother a car, it's not beyond my people who are listening and watching on YouTube. If you want to buy Ivan a car to aid in his movement, is welcome. If you also want to ensure that every month you can secure for him an app, the hailing apps, you can pay that for him, it is also welcome. If you also want to call him, reach out to him, and support him financially, whichever way. I am doing this myself, whichever way. I want to call on all of you to help my brother to get there. He spoke about his PhD. Despite his challenges, he's done his degree, he's done his master's, completed I think early this year with his master's.
Yeah,
This
in
year,
March.
right?
In
Or
March.
somewhere in March.
Yeah.
He's done his master's despite his challenges and wants to get his PhD done. If there's any support you can offer him in that regard as well, I want to plead on all of you to help us get this young man up there. What he has here is so much that I think we need to push him to get to that level where he can really impact and be a reference point for others with some level of impairment. You see our brothers and our sisters on our streets begging. He is not there. He is leading a cause, chartering a cause. And I want all of us to support him to be an example to the others to look up to and say, because of Ivan, we also want to aspire to get to the top despite our challenges. So please, support in any way you can. If you're watching this, support in any way you can. Reach out. It could be myself, or I'll get you Ivan's number. Reach out to him and impact on himself, I must say his life, and for him to impact on others who are also just like him with some level of impairment. It's a wrap on Chat Room. My name is Benjamin. I've been having a chat today with my brother Ivan Hitcott Koshi Fumado, who is visually impaired but doing amazing stuff in the journalism field. It's a wrap. I'll see you guys some other time.